It's another episode of the Treble with me, Gareth Roberts. Got Neil Atkinson with me. If you've missed the first one, the idea is that we bring 3 items in that are dear to us, dear to our sort of Liverpool lives, if you like. We all keep memorabilia, don't we? Whether they're scarves, hats, programmes, whatever. There's no rules. The idea is that we get Anfield Wrap contributors in. They pick their 3 things and the story behind them, and then they chat about them. So Neil, what are you starting with? What have you brought in?
I'm starting with this. Now, this isn't the one that was brought back. My uncle, I didn't go to the '86 final. My first game was Birmingham City, and it was about 4 to 6 weeks before the final. So I didn't go to the final. I was only 5 years old at the time. But I went to the first game with my dad against Birmingham City, and then 5 weeks later, 6 weeks later, was the FA Cup final, Liverpool playing Everton in the double, and our Robert went, and he brought the programme back for me, and I, like the one I had of this, the original one, like I read it until it was broken. Do you know when you read something so much it falls to pieces? I read it until it was broken. Because I just pored over it the whole of that summer. I don't know if it's a false memory or a real memory. I can remember watching the kit. I used to be very blonde, like so I was watching the game in full kit, the final, in full kit, watching it. That's a belter, isn't it? I mean, we'll just do that quickly for the camera, but we'll get the cutaway as well. That's up in the croc. Yeah. I'm obsessed with it. It's in the croc. Everyone had that. Everyone had that. Yeah, the Prue Wembley special. And part of why this is amazing, and I think part of why I pored over it, is I remember the colours. You know, one of the things about the 85-86 final, the way it was on telly, you remember them pulling the lads up to get in the ground, and they were wearing yellow and all of that, and it was just, you know, when we chatted before, you said about seeing the pitch. One of the things I think about footy when you're young, when you're a kid, is the colour. Yeah. Everything's so bright. Like you go through a life where normally things aren't this bright, and then you get this, and like every page of this is bright. Everything about it sort of grabs your attention in this way. It looks brilliant. It's so well designed. There's a Rod Stewart advert there. Rod is back on the ball, shooting for goal with his new single, A Real Winner. It doesn't even tell you what it's called. It goes right the way through. There's this weird little bit in the middle that folds out with the 2 teams.
Great stuff.
Isn't that amazing?
It's fantastic, that, isn't it?
And even that's, you know, it's really colourful. We're so colourful, the red and the yellow. They're a bit more miserable, but you know they're doing their best. But you know they've got everything there. And it just grabs you, doesn't it? You know, literally, imagine being 5 years old and having this in your house, every little bit of it.
And what a game as well.
And what a game. Yeah, the game's tremendous. Here's all of our lads. I go all the way through and there's like just brilliant bits. But like, the other thing is, and this is the bit we don't talk about, there's something about footy that's dead geeky and nerdy. So I love the end where it tells you the journeys through to the final. Like, you get to find out with all these teams, preliminary round, pick any of those names out, they're all belters. And how they got on, and the
Wellingborough Town v Wigston Field.
It's where the FA Cup starts. Tilbury versus Maidenhead United. It went 2-0 to Tilbury. Well done them. So you can then find them in the first round qualifiers, and you can do all of this right the way through. And that idea of, you know, that this is everywhere. And I can, honestly, this is why I just read this, and like one of the reasons why I know loads of weird place names across the whole of the country is stuff like this. Like there's Colwyn Bay.
There's South Liverpool.
South Liverpool, yeah. 1-5-0. So let's follow them through. Where did they end up? South Liverpool. They'll be in here somewhere. Long Eaton United 1-3-2. They're still in the third qualifying round. How did they get on?
Here they are. Witten Albion.
1-5-0. They're on the march.
On the boys.
Beat Bangor on a replay in the 4th round qualifying. They made the first round proper 3-2. So
tell you what, they're messing about, are they?
Where are they? South Liverpool. Whitby Town. Beat them 1. They got beat by Whitby 1-0.
Boys,
that's their road to Wembley over. But like all this is in there, and you can like trace all this through. And genuinely remember they put the replays in where there's the replays, the extra games, and like you're collecting this information. You're like, you know, what's going on in the world? What's the world look like? There's the semi against Southampton.
It's obviously before Photoshop because the cutouts are incredibly bad.
Bananas, aren't they? And they keep doing this strip across the top with the red into the yellow, into the orange all the way through for Liverpool. They do something different for Everton. Brilliant every round that we play. It's honestly terrific.
It's gosh that you pulled it out as well, because obviously then, you know, it's worth saying, isn't it, for perhaps, you know, young people who are watching, like the FA Cup was a massive deal.
It was everything, and that final was genuinely like, I don't know if it's false memories or real memories. I remember the goals, but do I remember the goals? Do I remember the videos of the goals? And I'll put myself in my living room because I've seen the replays of the goals.
Knocking the camera over.
Knocking the camera over, yeah. I remember all that, but do I remember it properly? But I remember our living room, and I remember the excitement, and I remember wearing the kit, and I'm certain I can remember it, you know, but I was only 5. But it really is like, this is what it is to fall for a footy team. You know, went to the first game. I was obviously always going to support Liverpool because my dad did, but went to the first game and then watched this one with my dad. We won. And then I remember, as I say, Robert brought the programme back and went, there you are, have the programme. And it was just like, as I say, it was probably, I would say at least for the 3 months of that summer, the most, like if the house was burning down, there was one thing that was happening, I was right by my bed. So that's the big one.
£1.50 as well.
The other thing I was going to pick...
A bargain in May 1986.
Yeah, honestly, it's the value out of it. The other thing I was going to pick, but I didn't want to do another bookish thing, was the Liverpool year. My Liverpool year by Kenny Dalglish. So 87-88, Kenny, we were brilliant, and Kenny wrote a memoir, and it was my Liverpool year, and that was when I was then 8, and it was a bit longer. Like, I can still remember there's a Joe Denton thing, there's Kenny getting rid of Joe Denton, because Joe Denton argued that Liverpool should have a handicap on the points. And Kenny's like written about it at the time, writing a diary thing saying, this is magic, can't be doing this, Joe. And he stood up in the House of Parliament and said it, and Kenny, I can still remember, like, because I used to read it up to that when I was like 13, 14, but read it about once every 6 months or so, and Kenny's like, you won't believe what Joe Denton stood up in Parliament and said. But I can remember, I just the whole of that season. So this and that are almost twins in my mind. Like, these were the things I used to read religiously and just find out, like, what does Kenny think about everything?
What's your second thing then?
My second thing is, I'm going to do these. These are just representative. So people come to the Anfield Wrap, or we go and see them, and they give us scarves, and I love it. Yeah, and I know you love it as well. Yeah, and we have them all over the office and downstairs and in the studios. So there's 2 of them here. This one's the most recent one. When I went to Japan, just on my own holidays, and I met Yamika, who's at the supporters club there, and she gave us this. And what I love about them is I love the spin. So it's one thing just to have the live birds on, it's an official supporters thing, etc, etc. But obviously the Japanese one's a really good example of. It's got Japanese on it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's different. And this one, the Seattle one's got this Seattle motto on the back, so I picked it up and it's got this, from the needle to the narrows, you'll never walk alone, and the needle and the narrows are like landmarks in Seattle. And I think it was Terry Sue who brought this for us, but I could be wrong, so I apologise if so. But I love that people bring this stuff.
Yeah, I love it as well. It's fantastic. I mean, we've got them from all over the world as well. I mean, when we've gone to places, people have gone, here's our scarf or here's our T-shirt. And they probably think, oh, they're just lashing them. But we're not. We're keeping them all. We've got all of them in the office, haven't we? And it's sort of like, I guess it's an example of like the sort of the warmth that we get when we go to places, isn't it? Yeah, and the warmth that you feel sort of coming the other way. Yeah. And I think that's, you know, I think both you and I have been on similar but slightly separate journeys around that sort of relationship with the overseas supporters. And I think it's something which, you know, you've had different feelings about at different times growing up. And for me, I love going out and, as I say, seeing that passion, but I also love the distinctive spin. That's what I want. I think the idea is, I love the idea that, yeah, it's Liverpool. It's Liverpool that says you'll never walk alone, but it says from the needle to the narrows. Yeah. We've got our own thing as well. And we've got our own place. And I love the idea that there's all these supporters clubs and they all love one thing, which is the thing we love, but they also get to do it in their own way. In the same way that, like, you consider about bars in the city, where in Jürgen's beer house now, there's bars that have got different character. I mean, you think about the bars around, the pubs around the ground, they're all different. Yeah. The Flatiron's different from the Albert. I go to the Albert with Steve Graves. You know about me and Steve Graves in the Albert? No. They always have old DVDs on, and for years, like, every time you go in before the match, if you were like half an hour early, you'd walk in and it's Michael Owen scoring goals in the Treble video and Robbie doing stuff. At the minute, they've got fixated on 15-16, but it's like you get to go in the Albert and you can just go and watch. I don't remember that. And it's great, and all the so like the Glenbook's different, the Hotel T is now different, the Solly's different. They're all different, and they're just pubs right by the ground. So of course Japan's different to Seattle, but it's still Liverpool. Yeah. I think it's an amazing thing. And my last thing is the bluest thing you'll see on this. I don't even know what this is. What are we doing here? Why have we got blue on it? Not only have we got blue, it's also really corporate. It's the most corporate thing you'll probably see as well. So it's got this on it, this Barclays thing. And this is, I wore this when I played at Anfield a couple of years ago. And trust me, I should have lashed it. It barely fit, if we're all honest. And I'm like Brockles had it in the general direction of, you don't need that, do you, lad, a couple of times, and I'm like, this is staying, because I've only ever played at Anfield once, and there's loads of people who, because they were better players than me growing up, played for the district or the county, and you got to play on Anfield. And because where we are actually in Avenue HQ, we got the invite to say, do you want to come down and play? And I played at Anfield, and I wore this. How was it? It was
amazing. I was really focused. So we had the big stand, and that big stand, by the way, wow. You know, it was like I can remember, like I was just trying to take everything in. A few of the other lads maybe probably came over, like they had a bit more of a laugh than me. You know, because I was just trying to soak everything up, and I got on, and I honestly didn't give it away. You can go and ask John. Didn't give it away. I played centre mid because the thing was everyone wants to score. And I thought, I don't want to score, I'll just play the way I normally play. And I just pinged the ball up, kept winning it back, picking up the bits, putting people in. I had Denny Matthews weirdly playing centre-half behind me, talking me through it. And we were battering the opponents because Denny was happy to play centre-half. He had a lad next to him playing centre-half. I was happy to play holding mid when I was on. So it was like we had a proper team structure, whereas everyone just wants to score and everyone's running around. So I just played centre mid and just got it and gave it because that's the way I like to play.
My best mate used to play for the supporters team, and they played a game at Anfield, and he got on as a sub in that game. And like he's a good player, but like we all went down to support him, and like, you know, I didn't get to play myself, but it was still nice to see me mate on there. And like he was the same, like, you know, he played it simple, he played some nice passes and all that, and like, you know, and we were all like, go on John, you know what I mean, yes, and all that. And like when he come off like that, we was just like, that pitch is amazing.
It's unreal. I think we overrate Xabi Alonso and Jordan Henderson and Steven Gerrard because it's such a joy to play on. I mean, it really was, and it bounced. There's one I remember. They cleared it out. The opposition cleared it out, and it bounces just in front of me. And there's a lad who's on the right touch line. I'm sort of on the right hand side of the centre of the pitch, and there's an opposing player in the way. And I just dinked it over his head, and the lad, it just lands on his instep. But it was because the bounce of the ball was just so true. So it just lands perfectly on my foot. It goes over this lad, bounces in front of this other one, bounces so true, it lands on his instep. We all look great, whereas in reality all I've done is just lob it 25 yards.
Ronnie Moran would be fuming there. You were admiring your own pass.
I was admiring my own pass. I wasn't doing, I'll be honest with you, Gareth, I wasn't covering much ground backing up. I was very much doing my thing. So I will always love this, and as I say, it's weird, it's bright blue, it's got Barclays on, it's all the things that, you know, you'd think you'd be against, but this is the shirt I wore at Anfield.
Brilliant, all about the memories. That has been another treble. There will be more soon. We'll get more contributors through the door to bring their 3 items. Look out for it. Nice one, Neil.